This time we'll have a public hearing of the presentation of the 2022-2023 annual operating budgets. Mr. Schnattelbach.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight we are presenting with you the 2022-2023 operating budgets for consideration. Included in this budget is the general fund budget of $171.8 million of revenue, $179.1 million of expenditures, $12.7 million of funds from other sources, leaving the general fund with a surplus of $5.4 million. Also included in this budget a special revenue funds of $147.3 million of revenue, $121.5 million of expenditures, debt service funds of $2.0 million of revenue and $1.4 million of expenditures, and capital project funds of $14.1 million of revenue and $22.0 million of expenditures. Some of the assumptions made in developing these budgets are as follows. In the general fund MFP revenue budgeted $123.8 million, which includes a reduction for local cost allocation due to other LEAs and child nutrition's required minimum funding. It does not include funding for state pay raises. The general fund sales tax revenues will remain constant compared to the 21-22 revised budget figures of $40.8 million. The general fund property tax revenue will remain constant compared to the 21-22 revised budget figure of $3.1 million. Budget expenditures include salary schedule increases of $2.9 million and anticipated step raises for all eligible employees of $1.8 million. Budgeted amounts do not include revenues or expenses related to the recent state-approved pay raises. When we know those figures for certain, we'll have them in a revised budget. Budget expenditures do not include supplemental pay increases. Budget expenditures include 2.5% increase for a full year in health care premiums and a small reduction in teachers' retirement systems and school employee retirement system rates. The new rates are 24.8% and 27.6% respectively. Budgeted operating transfer of $450,000 for the Hammond Magnet Schools and $717,000 for the non-Hammond Magnet Schools. Budgeted workers' comp rates of 2.15 for low-risk employees and 7.75 for the high-risk employees. Within the special revenue funds, Education Facility Improvement District revenues from the 1/2 cent sales tax are projected to generate $13.0 million. This is an increase of $3.0 million from the 21-22 budgeted figure. These additional funds will be transferred to the general fund and will support the recently approved 2022-2023 salary schedule increases. Also in the special revenue fund, 3 congressional funding appropriations for the pandemic relief are included under several federal grants reported in this section and amount to about $81.8 million. Types of expenditures include purchase of new school buses, upgrade to HVAC systems, new playground equipment, virtual instruction, which includes curriculum, devices, connectivity, software and technology support, tutoring service, after-school programs, summer learning camps, sanitation supplies, and others. In the debt service fund, we budgeted $1.1 million for required annual funding for quality school construction bond sinking fund for the construction of the new O.W. Dillon campus. Budgeted $750,000 as required for the annual funding of the 2021 sales tax bonds for financing phase 1 construction projects. Under debt service, there are no millages levied for Sumner or Independence District, as the money was set aside to pay the remaining debt in previous years. Sumner's final payments will be made in 2022, 2023, and Independence's final payments will be made in 23-24. In the capital project fund, the existing phase 1 projects will continue into the 2022 school year, with the following projects set to be completed this school year: Champ Cooper's 10 classroom addition, Ponchatoula High School's 8 classroom addition, Hammond High Magnet School's 14 classroom addition, Kentwood High's window replacement, Laranja High School's Field House Classroom Addition, Laranja High's Title IX Improvement Project, and DC Reeves' A Classroom Addition. Budgeted $13.9 million of second 1-cent sales tax proceeds into the Capital Project Fund to be available for future capital projects. In summary, the proposed operating budgets reflect general fund surplus revenues exceeding expenditures for the 2022-2023 school year of $5.4 million. This would bring an estimated ending fund balance to $27.3 million, or 15.2% of total expenditures, leaving the district on sound financial footing. It is important to note that 81% of the general fund dollars are directed to instructional purposes, meaning spent in the classroom. At this time, I'd ask you all if there's any public comment to entertain that now.
I don't think we received any requests. Anybody have any public comment? If not, we'll adjourn this portion, and in a minute, we'll start the regular meeting.
Bless you.
Who was that, Miss Tilly? God bless you, Miss Superintendent. I'm sure you can use some extra blessings, I would think, right?
Think he's ready.
Ready? Everybody left.
That's it.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. This time, we'd ask for roll call.
Richards.
He's here.
Ms. Richards.
Present.
Mr. Toller.
Here.
Ms. Abrams.
Here.
Mr. Westmoreland.
Present.
Mr. Duncan. Here. Mr. Bush.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Ms. Simmons.
Here.
Ms. Dominguez.
All right, at this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll ask Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
This time, we'll consider approval of the board minutes of July 19, 2022. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the budget.
Motion by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Abrams. Any discussion? Call for a vote.
Voting is open.
Yes for me.
Yes, Ms.
Trying to log in. I'm already in.
She said yes. Oh, okay.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to presentations. Presentation by Major Larry Morgan, Commander, Tangipahoa Cadet Squadron, Civil Air Patrol, Dr. Lisa Fussell. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. This is an exciting part of the whole board meeting to me, is when we do the academic update piece. And over the next few academic updates, I just wanted to kind of highlight some of our individuals who are working on initiatives in our district, especially since they align to some goals that Ms. Tilley set. I think it was in the spring of 2020, that there were some initiatives that she put out that said, hey, here are some things that are important in our district, expanding opportunities for our students. After-school programs were one of those, which we had last year, we'll have again this year. And during those after-school programs, we started trying to put more enrichment opportunities. So you have some English and math, but you might have some music or some art or some STEM activities. And so one of the things that we're expanding on this year is our CAP programs. So I actually have Major Morgan here tonight who's going to do a presentation. And before he comes up, I just want to make some connections to what he's going to talk about, to some of the things that we've done in the past in the district. So Mr. Morgan, even though Major Morgan, I've called him Mr. Morgan forever, he's Major Morgan, even though we live in the same community, I really met him when he was at Hammond Junior High, the time it was Hammond Junior High, and I was teaching American history at Hammond High. And when my Hammond High kids would come in, and this is back when we taught from like the discovery of America to present time, like how was you going to get that in that many months? So you try to see what kids already came to you knowing. And every time I would have a quiz at the beginning of the year, they'd say, oh, Mr. Morgan covered that with us. Oh, Mr. Morgan. So I went over to Hammond Junior High and I met Mr. Morgan. And I said, you sure made my job easy when kids come. And then that's when I discovered that he already kind of had a program, which is the Civil Air Patrol program. He started at Hammond Junior High. It was a very successful program there. Well, Mr. Morgan eventually moved back down to the North End, which is where he lives, and he was at Kentwood High when I was principal at Sumner High. And Mr. Morgan started a CAP program at Kentwood High, and he called me and he said, hey, I've got Sumner kids who are interested. If I could have meetings on your campus, I can really extend this program, and this is all I need. I need a place to meet. So CAP came to Sumner. So, we've had several of you all, as well as superintendent, over the years. We've been like, how can we get some more opportunities that maybe aren't necessarily JROTC, because not everybody gets those programs with the military, but has some of the same components about character and service. Well, what I like about CAP is it has a huge STEM component to it, which you're going to hear about. Really huge component, STEM component to it. And so Mr. Morgan is working with us this year to further extend our programs to our other high school campuses and eventually to our middle school program. So we wanted you all to hear more about what CAP is, what does it look like, what Mr. Morgan's role is actually in the state of Louisiana for CAP, and how blessed we are to have him working in our district. So Major Morgan is now going to share more of the program with you.
Thank you, Dr. Purcell. Thank you, Board and Superintendent Stilley, for giving me this opportunity. As Dr. Purcell said, I've been in this system a long time as an educator. It's my 31st year in Tangipahoa Parish. And as she mentioned, in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was a young teacher at Hammond Junior High, and we were looking for a program that would fit the needs of our students. And at that time, I didn't know what Civil Air Patrol was. So I went about trying to reinvent the wheel. And, through the graciousness of some really good students over the years, that program was really successful. Over the 15 years that we ran that Hammond Junior High program, I think I ran somewhere in the neighborhood of about 850 students. And when I left there, we were running 50 cadets a day, and it was embedded in our curriculum. However, when I transferred to Kentwood, the program that we had spent so many years building in Hammond disappeared. So when I got to Kentwood and we decided we wanted to do something similar there, I started looking for a program that would outlive me. And that's when I discovered the Civil Air Patrol. Ironically, during those times, the first 25 years of my career, I was also a reservist in the Louisiana Air National Guard, which is also a component of the Air Force, and I didn't know the Civil Air Patrol existed. So I've always said that it's the best kept secret in the Air Force. And tonight I just want to show you, I want to let you in on the secret, okay? Because it really is a great program, and I do believe in it wholeheartedly. Now, I'm not technical. I can't fly, and I can't work PowerPoints, but I'm going to try. All right. We are the official auxiliary of the Air Force. We are a civilian auxiliary. Nobody in our program, adults or cadets, are required to join the military. Of the 8 adults that I have working with me in my squadron right now, I'm the only one that's prior military. However, the majority of what I have now are also educators, so that helps. All right, just a very quick overview. I don't, as a teacher, I didn't like to do death by PowerPoint, and that's not what I'm trying to do tonight, but I do want to give you a real quick overview. We are federally chartered. Yeah, we are a nonprofit organization. As I said, we're a civilian auxiliary. We have been around literally as an organization since the week before Pearl Harbor. Okay, it is literally that old, and nobody seems to know about it. Another benefit that most people don't know is our cadet program offers the same benefits as a JROTC. Okay, as far as enlistment, going in with added rank, all of that, the normal things that you would see at a JROTC. But our emphasis is on aviation and STEM. That's what it's all about for us. All right, oh, by the way, in this PowerPoint, all of the pictures that you're going to see are our cadets. Okay, I didn't pull any photos from online. These are our kids doing what they do. But the program for the cadets is focused on leadership schools, aerospace education, which is our big one, physical fitness, character development, and community service. Okay? We concentrate on STEM and aerospace field trips. You'll see a little bit in a minute about what we do in a typical year. We go to air shows, our cadets march in parades. We have scholarships to Space Camp, to the National Flight Academy, to NASA Space Academy. All of these things are available to our cadets, and we have sent our cadets over the years. We have a training academy coming up. We got NCSAs. I just sent a cadet to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, to the National Blue Beret, world's largest air show. And we just sent 8 members to the National Cadet Competition in Dayton, Ohio. All of those were Sumner members. We're very proud of those. They won the state, so they're the state champion.
What school was that again? What school was that again?
That would be Sumner High
Okay,
School,
thank
Mr.
I
Tyler.
didn't quite hear you.
They're also the region champions. Our region is Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. So we beat out those other states to get to represent CAP in the nation, and we ended up 15th in the nation out of about 1,500 squadrons. All right, here's what a typical meeting would look like over the course of a year, what we do during the school day at Sumner, but also my middle schoolers meet on Tuesday nights. In fact, they're meeting tonight. This is all embedded in their after school, their extracurricular curriculum. We build rockets. We fire different levels of rockets. They just finished earning their model rocketry badge where they have to send a payload. I think it has to go up to 2,000 feet, normally with an egg, and it has to parachute back down. If the egg breaks, they fail. They got to do it again. So we had 14 students who passed that and earned their model rocketry badge. We also fly drones. That's getting to be a big push. We're working on certifications for students and senior members like myself. Excuse me. We do have remote control aircraft that we fly. A big push for a lot of our students, it's a benefit that other organizations don't have, is that our cadets, if they choose, through Civil Air Patrol pilots and all of their rules and regulations, get to fly aircraft. Okay, they get front seat flights if they so choose, and they get to take over the yoke and actually fly. We do visit aerospace facilities. We got a working memorandum with Border Patrol in Hammond with their aviation wing. We go down there quite a bit. We have a partnership with the World War II Museum. We work their air show for them and so on and so forth. We do have scholarships for students to earn their private pilot's license, and we do have multiple college scholarships. All right, our aerospace education, just real quick, I'll let y'all look at that. That's normally what we focus on. Okay, they're able to fly the drones, the RCs. We do have flight simulators. It's part of our STEM kits, telescopes, robots, you name it, we build it, we do it. All right, I do want to push this, because this is what Dr. Fussell was talking about. This is a big benefit that a lot of people don't know about, and it's open to every school, okay? If any teacher signs up as a Civil Air Patrol Aerospace Education member, okay, they don't have to be involved like I do where I wear a uniform and march kids down the road. This is just saying, I want to be part of your STEM program. Then they receive a STEM kit. And there's different levels of STEM kits, but what you see on the PowerPoint is what we offer. And it's free of charge. They'll send it. All the teacher has to do is embed it in their lesson, show that they actually completed the lesson, and write a feedback on a little online form, and then they're eligible for the next STEM kit. And it costs the schools nothing. You know, we have, at Sumner, we have robots, telescopes, drones, we have 2 or 3 RC planes, we have flight simulators, we got more rockets now than we know what to do with. I think Mr. Toller probably hears them from his house when they're out launching them on the football field. And of course, there's all kind of curriculum, workbooks, manipulatives, so on and so forth. We do have a real world mission. Our cadets train for it. This is mostly focused on our senior member side of the house, but we do have a working partnership with St. Helena and Tangipahoa Parish if they were to need, and the Red Cross, if they were to need cadets to help with search and rescue and that kind of stuff. That with a cadet, of course, is 100% voluntary parental improvement. You know, we don't just grab students and take them out and say, okay, go find somebody. But it is an opportunity, and it is what they train for. All right, we do community service projects quite a bit. Mr. Toller, I know, is very familiar with a lot of stuff we do there. Color guard presentations. I think we did in the neighborhood of about 40 color guard presentations just in last school year. Parades, STEM presentations. Here's a picture of us doing a STEM activity at Sumner Middle. Last year, we go to Chesbro. I've reached out to other schools. I know we're supposed to do something coming up at Kentwood High. And of course, we do community outreach, again, working with veterans organizations, stuff like that. All right, I won't bore you with this, but this is a normal, typical year for our squadron. A calendar year, and this is what we did in one calendar year. Extracurricular. None of that is during instructional time. Now, of course, that makes for a very busy year. We would never in a million years expect every cadet to do all of those things, but there's enough stuff that we have on our agenda that they can pick and choose the stuff that they want to do and participate in, and give them that, I don't know, insight that you wouldn't normally get. For a quick example, we have a partnership with the World War II Museum. Pre-COVID, we did all of their color guards for their air shows, but we were also the points of contact for Soaring Valor, which is a program that the actor Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, he puts on every year. And our cadets would go and meet with him and then escort dignitaries around the World War II Museum. One dignitary that our cadets got to escort was President Eisenhower's granddaughter, which was very, very touching for us. All right, so you can see we stay busy. All right, just what we offer for the school and for the cadet themselves. Again, military benefits are similar to JROTC. If you do 2 years in CAP or you earn your Mitchell Award, which is you become an officer or cadet second lieutenant, you can join any branch of the military as an E3. However, we are not here to recruit. That is not where our emphasis is. We do offer thousands of dollars of scholarships. The most scholarship money I ever got for a cadet was many years ago, a Hammond cadet. But when she graduated, she got just shy of $450,000. So she did pretty well. And she got her private pilot's license out of the deal, which is a big, big push. All right. Again, 10% of all United States Air Force Academy cadets at the moment are former Civil Air Patrol cadets. So it is a stepping stone for one of the National Service Academies. We're pretty proud of that. We have a lot of connections there to try to get appointments for our cadets who want to go that route. Again, there's no military obligation required. That's not what we're about. Our emphasis and the reason the Air Force pushes this program is to keep an interest in aviation. Because right now, I'm sure y'all are aware, the aviation industry is begging. They need pilots, they need mechanics, they need air traffic controllers, and any young person who is interested in anything aviation, everybody needs them. And the Air Force and the Army is no different. Any branch of the military, they need those people as well. The other thing the Air Force is spending money on is we perform 100% of the Air Force's search and rescue missions now. You know, anything the Air Force gets tasked for, a downed aircraft that the Coast Guard is not going to do, or anything like that, drone surveillance, anything like that inside the U.S., it's a Civil Air Patrol mission. So that's why they push the program. Not so much, they're not really trying to recruit cadets to come into the Air Force. If anything, they're trying to recruit them to stay in aviation and come into Civil Air Patrol as an adult so they can continue to fly those civilian missions. All right, again, this is, you can see that we are nationwide. This is, every little triangle is another squadron. We are all over every state, territory, you name it, we're there. All right, here's what we do in North Tangipahoa. Again, I'm focused mostly on Kentwood and Sumner. I do have one cadet at Laranja at the moment, and I have several Sumner Middle School cadets, and we're looking to bring in a couple new ones right now from junior high part of Kentwood. All right, but of course we do color guard. Right now we have 37 cadets from those three schools, and what I mentioned earlier, we do have a memorandum with the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness with 2 different parishes. And again, any cadet, we will take, this is what makes us different from an ROTC. If we were embedded in a school, is we're open to any cadet 12 to 18. So our program is set up to work with middle school students as much as high school. And when I was at Hammond Junior High, that was one of the things that we focused on, because we were finding back then our middle school, our junior high students needed the structure and the outlet more than our high school students. Sometimes we'd already lost them by the time they got to high school. But we found out that if we could catch them in middle school and get them involved in something and get them interested, then the transition to high school was a lot more successful. And that's why I believe in this program. You know, I'm doing this out of the, you know, I won't say the goodness of my heart, but I will say I do it because I believe in it. You know, I show up every Tuesday night to work with other people's kids, and I don't get any kind of monetary gain out of it. I do it because obviously that's why we all went into education. We do it for the kid, and that's why I keep doing it. And I'm sure after I retire and I'm gone, I'll probably keep doing it. Sir?
How do we get this parish-wide? I know that's one of the things that Ms. Stilley, with your new position that you're in now, how do we get this parish-wide to where every student has this possibility?
One thing, we have to increase the awareness. Every campus is probably going to look a little different as far as what they can put in their schedule with their faculty. You know, I can't speak on that part. I know what we have been able to do at Sumner, but I know what we weren't able to do at Kentwood. You know, at Kentwood at the time, you know, at Hammond Junior High, we were able to embed. And it was an elective class, and by the time I left, it was 2 periods with 50 cadets a day. Kentwood, we weren't able to fit that in the schedule, so we did it all extracurricular. Sumner, we had to stay extracurricular for several years. Now we're able to embed it as an elective, and by doing that, we brought on one of our teachers, a social studies teacher, who knew absolutely nothing about CAP, and he was able to work it in as an elective, and I work with him to get him trained and learn the ins and outs while I do the command part, where I have to deal with the wing and the national headquarters and so on and so forth. But, you know, it'd probably look different no matter where we go. Every school's gonna have to do it their way until they can get it the way they want it. I hope that answers your question.
Ms. Stilley?
Are you in the process of working with LaRonger, Ms. Fussell, maybe to get, I think
Yeah.
Ms. Fussell said, because.
Yeah, I already have one cadet over there, and we have a list of names of cadets who are already interested in the program.
So we're looking to maybe get it there eventually.
I hope, you know, if it was up to me, we'd have one in every school in the,
Well, what do you
In the
need further
parish.
to get it in LaRonger? What,
We met this morning, so
Oh.
he's working with both principals of LaRonger Middle and LaRonger High. Because right now, he's recruiting, but we gotta find the right faculty person to get it started. And it may be like right now, he brings in the Sumner. So Mr. Morgan spends one day of his week working with those schools on how to recruit those.
I've had parents that they were so excited when we had the JROTC there. Of course, we don't now, but it has a tremendous impact on our young people. And I think it's
I believe
amazing.
there's a need and a want in LaRonger, but again, we'll know more when we start to try to recruit and see what the,
So, Major Morgan,
what the
what
interest is.
grades, when you say you have it as an elective course, what grades?
At Sumner High School right now, it's 9 through 12.
Oh, so
But
it's-
last year was our first year, so everybody is either in Aerospace Education 1 or 2.
I mean,
because
I'm
we haven't
wondering
been-
whether it could be something that we offer as part of our new Advanced Career and Technologies Center, but that would only be for the 11th and 12th. But if it's offered there, then whether you're a student at any of those north end parishes or schools in particular, they would be able to take advantage of that course.
I think there's a way to make it work, no matter where we put it. I just believe firmly in what we offer.
So we are working with our principals, middle school and high school, to embed it in their programs, but we do see it at the Advanced College and Career and Independence. But I do agree that I think middle school is a focus, you know, getting them involved early in middle school and continue it into high school will be very important as we move forward. So I think this is just the beginning, and we'll continue to update the board on the development and how many students we're touching with the cadet program.
And you said 12 through 18.
Yeah, ages 12 to 18. They can actually stay a cadet until they're 21, all the way through college. However, they can't become a cadet after the age of 18. They have to come in as an adult.
Major, thank you for your service, appreciate that.
Thank you. I
Did this
appreciate y'all.
program, was this, and if I missed it, I'm sorry, is this at Hammond Airport?
There is a squadron, it's not affiliated with our squadron, but Hammond Airport does have a small cadet program. I think, I've talked to their commander. They have a new commander. I think they only have 2 public school students there at the moment, and everybody else they have are homeschooled.
Gotcha.
They're running about 12 cadets, I believe.
So it's open to homeschoolers too?
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Homeschoolers?
It's
Could be-
open to anyone, as far as the national organization. In fact, most squadrons outside of our immediate area focus more on homeschool than anything. I think the St. Tammany Squadron, which is as large as we are, about 30-plus cadets, I think they're 100% homeschool or parochial school now. So we're one of the only public school systems that's really looking at the program as far as I know. In this state, other states.
Tom?
Yeah, just one more, I just want to make one more plug. The school itself, of course, I've been around the cadet program for a while, and I've seen them in action. I've always been impressed with the young students. To see them put on programs like retiring flags and all the different aspects that they do is just remarkable. And to see the kids, to see them raise the flag at football games and things. But last year I had the chance to have them come. We had an awards banquet in Hammond. Several hundred soldiers, 2 general officers, from all across the state came into Hammond, and I reached out to the group, and they came and they helped us with the program. They helped us open doors, close doors, and it was a chance for the chain of command in the state of Louisiana to see students performing and to see students participating with soldiers, and they did an exceptional job, and I've never been more proud of them and to see their interaction with soldiers that day. And I think Colonel Clayton even took them over and let them see a Black Hawk and a couple other things there at the airport.
Yeah, they're still talking about it.
Yeah, so it was good on both sides, but, you know, we need more discipline in our schools. We need more order, and we talked about this before the meeting. We need more boundaries. And all these things are taught through that program.
It is.
So I would love to see this program go parish-wide, and I hope it takes off and it does that. But thank you.
And again, I have an open door policy. If you want to see us in action, just let us know. You're more than welcome to come see what our cadets do. You know, if I'm available for any questions, whatever you need, just let me know. Okay? I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Moving on to consider committee reports. A, Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole, August 16, 2022. Do I hear a motion to adopt?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt all but items G and H, so we can do that separately.
All right.
Second.
So we have a motion for all items except, which ones? G?
Items G and H.
G and H. So we'll call to vote all those other items.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, we'll take up
Chairman,
now.
I'll move to adopt the committee's recommendations as to agenda items G and H of the Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole meeting, August 16, 2022.
Motion by Mr. Duncan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bush. Have any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make an amendment to that. Under the terms, to amend it to say 1 year instead of 2 years, with the period ending August 31st, 2023.
Have a motion for an amendment. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Robin. We have discussion on the amendment,
Yeah, just as a
proposed amendment.
Yeah, just to clarify, I'm trying to find a compromise, and I've talked to several of the board members over this, trying to, you know, with Alan Morgan has been exceptional in our school system, has done a great job, and after December, he will no longer be with the new company. With the fact that we will have a new board coming in January, we felt like that this would be a good opportunity for the next board to make this decision next year, whether we extend that another year or whether we go back out to price and go back out to bid. So for two reasons. First of all, because this is a new company. We give them a year to see how they do. This is a win for Morgan's. It's a win for us. And then it gives us a chance next year for the new board to revisit this, if necessary, and extend the contract or go back out for bid. So we think it's a good compromise.
So I have a motion to amend the terms of the agreement to state a one-year term ending in 2023.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
December 31st?
No.
20, or August?
No, August 31st, 2000.
August 31st, 2023.
Okay.
Any further discussion, Mr. Duncan?
Yeah, I would just, I think we should go with the administration's original recommendation and the committee's recommendation. We have a substantial amount of heating and air condition work that's going to be going on over the course of the next 2 years. Having the same company kind of assist with that process, I mean, this is millions and millions of dollars. All of that work is not going to be done within the next year. But I do think once we get through that process, get through the 2 years that we're going to be doing all of this work, I certainly would join Mr. Toller in an effort to, you know, to send this out and open it up now that Mr. Morgan is going to be retiring.
Yeah, and absolutely. And this, by no way will this amendment stop us from doing that. We can, next year, the new board, whether we have one change on this board or whether we have whatever happens, whatever the voters decide, it'll be that new board's decision at that point to extend it or go a different direction.
Well, like I said, I think if we were to do it in a year, we will be in the middle of doing that tens of millions of dollars worth of HVAC work.
None of this will stop that work.
Well, my question is it going to be at the guaranteed rate that we would have if we extend this 2 years? Or are we going to have the 3%
Well, the
increase,
second-
or is it going to be up to bid and whatever the lowest bidder will give us at that time?
The second year, as of right now, we have a guaranteed 3%, no more than 3% increase. If we open it up, then we don't know what the increase will be.
Well, it's not about price, because we already went with the higher price 2 years ago.
Mr.
About
Steinbach,
service.
let me ask a question about that. There was two different prices on this bid. One was a set price for just regular routine maintenance, and one was a by the hour price.
The hourly rate would be for any work that is done that is not routine maintenance. So if we ask the vendor to install a HVAC unit or replace a unit or repair a compressor or something, that would be on a hourly rate, time and hourly rate based on the contract hourly rate.
And being the experienced company that we use, and you charge $5 an hour, and it takes you 10 hours to do it, that's $50. I charge $10 an hour, but it takes me 3 hours to do it, and that's $30. So we really don't know what contract we voted on 2 years ago, what was the lowest price, because it's an hourly rate, is that correct?
Well, that's correct. The maintenance part was, we did go with the lower rate, so we didn't pay more than the competitive rate. The vendor matched the other rate that was.
Yeah, and he matched, that's right, he did, Mr. Morgan matched the other rate anyway.
It's important to note that this contract has a clause to end the contract if we're not satisfied. I'm not sure exactly, but it's usually a 30-day notice, something to that factor.
And they all got scores, correct?
I'm sorry?
It was a financial deal, but it also was a performance. They got rated as performance.
The proposals were rated based not just on finance, but on other.
And what was the
on
highest score you
experience.
could get?
I can't recall.
It was a
Mr. Bush.
4.0 and only one company got that, and it was Morgan Mechanical. And the rest of them were like, some of them were in the ones, points, and twos.
I did not review the contract that was,
and,
in
you
the
know,
process.
I'm like Mr. Duncan. We've got millions and millions of dollars out there. Have we had any trouble with Morgan?
With Metro.
It's Metro now, I think
No,
switched
sir.
over.
Matter of fact, that they were the low bid on our Hammond High project, and they're working right now on moving forward with replacing most of the HVAC systems at Hammond High School.
And your recommendation is still to do the 1
Yes,
year,
sir.
the same price, and then the 3%? That's the administration's recommendation still.
That is my recommendation to the board.
It's 2
A
years.
2-year contract
1 year at the same price, and the second year, as Mr.
with a
Duncan
small
said,
increase
a
of
3%.
3%. Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Knobloch, while you're up there, one of the things you said in the committee meeting was that when I asked about it, if it was allowed in the contract, you said you ran it through
I
our
went to
attorneys?
the attorneys, and there is
Who'd
no
you go
legal
through?
issue with the firm selling the firm.
Who?
Of, Mr. Moody, Chris Moody.
So you went through Mr. Moody, so there was no issue with toward the end of the contract where it says this is a single source agreement and no subcontracting is allowed?
Right. There's no subcontractor here. The company was purchased.
Right.
So it's not a subcontracting or the work out to another firm.
But just to clarify what this amendment is, this is not an anti-anybody
Understood.
amendment. This is this board reaching into next year with a service agreement and then giving us the opportunity next year to either extend it or to revisit it whenever there's a new board. We know there's going to be a different board next year. It's just my personal opinion that we should not make decisions moving out 2 years into a new board's reign. And that amendment would do this, and it also keeps who's providing our service right now in place.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on the amendment.
I do have one more question, Mr. President, if you don't mind. Mr. Toll is making a point I'm not sure about. So if we did this for a year, would we still be able to only have a 3% increase? Or we would have to send it out for rebid?
We don't have to send it out.
Or would this break that contract agreement?
If it's a 2-year contract and we only sign a 1-year contract, the contract would expire.
We would have to-
Unless
Wait, wait,
unless
hold
we-
on. We don't know that because we didn't negotiate this contract. Who negotiated the 2-year terms?
I did with the vendor.
Did you ask them the question, if it was a 1-year term, would it still be the same? So we don't know that answer, is what I'm saying,
Okay.
Well-
I can tell you what I know, so let me finish, please.
okay?
So it's a 2-year contract, and if we converted it to a 1-year contract, the contract would terminate, and then we'd have to negotiate another contract. If it's a 2-year contract with termination clause built in, and I'm reviewing for that right now to see what that is, then we could terminate the contract based on the termination clause. And I just don't see it looking up this.
Yes, it's a 30-day window.
It's a 30-day window? Thank you,
for-
Mr. Toller.
Yeah, for,
So that means at any time, if next year in August or September, we want to terminate, we can terminate with a 30-day notice. It would be my recommendation to lock in the 2 years, and then back next year, if we have a new board, then address that termination clause at that time.
All right, I call for a vote, Ms. Cindy, to allow the amendment. This is not to decide, this is to decide on the one,
This is just to allow the amendment.
correct, to allow the
It would
amendment,
approve the amendment as a 1-year instead of a 2-year.
correct.
Voting is open. Motion fails. It's a tie.
Okay. Then we'll have any further discussion on G and H in its original form.
Call the question.
Call for a question.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes with Mr. Toller, Ms. Abrams, and Mr. Moore voting no.
All right, moving on to B, Finance and Audit Committee for August 16, 2022. Do I hear a motion to adopt? Or do we want to have the lady to speak on the,
Mr. President, I would
Yes.
recommend that we have a motion to approve everything but item F.
okay?
Move to adopt the report with the exception of agenda item F.
Second.
Mr. Duncan made the motion and Ms. Sanders Simmons second. So we'll have you have any discussion on all the items except F? Is there any discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and call for a vote on all those items except F.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, we presented to y'all at the Finance Committee last week our property insurance renewals. We have some additional information about additional coverage at the same rate, but I'd like to have Ms. Carmel Bro come up and, update y'all on the additional property information.
Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a little bit of good news for you tonight. If I'm going to refresh your memory, last week when I was here and we talked about the property insurance, at the end, what was bindable coverage was only a $15 million limit for wind and all other perils, fire, lightning, and the such. Today, I'm here to report that we have been able, your agent has been able to secure you a full $20 million limit on wind coverage and an additional $20 million on fire. So you will end up with a total of 20 million of coverage on wind, and then 40 million of coverage on all other perils, fire, lightning, vandalism, theft, that sort of thing. You should have in front of you the spreadsheet, and I've updated it a little bit. And Ms. Cindy, if you go all the way to page 4, the last page. This is the property page from, it looks a little bit different than it did the other night, because I combined all the layers into one section here. There are going to be 11 insurance carriers, with one insurance carrier being the lead, that's Westchester. The others will all follow what Westchester does. But you will have 20 million of coverage on wind. You'll have 40 million on fire, lightning, and all other perils. And the premium, when you get down to the bottom of the page, the total premium is now going to be $1,863,185.
What were we at last week?
Last week, you were at $1,863,447. You're actually $262 less for more coverage.
That's what I'm talking about.
And when you flip, Miss Cindy, when you flip to that extra page, this kind of makes it simple for you to see. What I did was I broke it down by layers so that you can see which insurance carriers are participating on which layers. The first layer is going to be at 10 million with Westchester and National Fire and Marine. And when you look all the way to the right of the page, you'll see what the premium is. And that remained the same from last week. Layer 2 is going to be Onshore, Evanston, and Lexington, and that's a 5 million layer. And when you look across, you'll see the premium is now at $222,806 for that layer. That's a little less. It was $238 last week. Layer 3 is going to be Starstone, Lloyd's of London, Houston Casualty, Scottsdale. That's another 5 million layer. And that premium is at $223,855. That's a little less than last week. Last week, the indication, that was the indication layer last week, was at $261,000. So it's a little less. And then layer 4 is the extra 20 million of all other, your fire, your lightning, vandalism, is Hudson Excess, Scottsdale Insurance, and when you look all the way to the right, the premium is going to be to $53,474. So a total is going to be $1,863,185, and that's what I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and approve tonight.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Before we do that, and so we don't forget, Ms. Bro, you need us to do a specific vote also rejecting the uninsured motorist and terrorism coverage?
Absolutely. When you make the motion tonight to renew all of your policies, I need that motion to include giving the superintendent authority to sign the uninsured motorist rejection on the auto policy and to sign the terrorism rejection on all policies.
It can be all one motion, but we need a
Yes.
specific, all right. So we move, so Mr. President, at this time I would move to adopt the administration's recommendation as to the 2022-2023 property, casualty, crime, and errors and omissions insurance policies, and specifically direct the superintendent to reject the uninsured motorist and terrorism coverage.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons. Any discussion?
What is the total, I know we went through this in the committee, Mr. Stallbach shaking his head.
The total,
There's some people, there's some members that were not here at the committee. What is the total increase this year over last year as far as our premiums?
1.4 million.
$1.4 million new money this year that we have to pay
For 1 year.
for 1 year out of our general fund. Just as a reminder to the public. So when they heard that $200 decrease, I don't want them thinking by any means insurance has gone up. And anyway, it's sad, but it's costly.
And this is just this insurance. We haven't even talked about the health insurance thing that's coming up to hit
Yep.
us too.
Was it underinsured or uninsured?
Uninsured.
Uninsured.
Okay.
All right, motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote.
Voting is open.
Can we go back to Ms. Sproul for a second? Just because I think Tom, do you mind while we're waiting? Do we have that vote? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
But you wanted to ask her a
I
question?
just wanted her to put in the minutes of this meeting, because I think Mr. Tom makes a good point. Probably the people watching this maybe didn't watch the committee meeting where we talked about this, but can you tell us again how many different carriers we went and talked to try and find the best possible price that we could for this coverage?
There were 51 property carriers that were approached. And when I say approached, your agent did an excellent job going to a broker that was able to get to all 51 of them. He sent applications to them and received responses back from them, as in they're no longer writing in Louisiana, they don't have any capacity left to write in Louisiana, they just not competitive with what he was able to put together. He had 11 carriers. Actually, I think he had a few more than 11 that he had received quotes from, but he took the best 11 and put together the best program that we have that I presented to you. Yeah, and it's a problem not just for Tangipahoa Parish. I have seen this around the state this year. Years past, it used to just be, the southern part of the state, the coastal parishes, and it's not. It's hitting as far up as Rapides Parish. I had this same problem with them in July. Vernon Parish, their premium actually went more than yours. And they're small, and they're up there in northern part of the state. It's a statewide, countrywide problem with property carriers writing in Louisiana right now.
And Ms. Broad, just to get to, for the benefit of the people who don't do all of this all the time, the work that you do for us, you do not work for any specific insurance company, correct?
I do not. I am strictly independent. I do not sell insurance. I only give advice on what's available to you. I bring competition to the table. And I read through all of those fine print policies, that are 200 pages thick that most people don't read. And I know you don't read your homeowners policies, but I read every single one of those policies to make sure that we have the coverage that we've approved tonight here for you.
Right, not just the best price, but make sure we have the types of policies that we need, all of that.
Possible, right.
Right, and that
Absolutely.
includes the history of knowing all of our claims and the types of challenges.
Correct. And again, yes, I do not sell insurance. I am not part of any agency, broker, carrier. I only receive compensation from the
Right.
school board here.
Okay. Just with that big increase, like Mr. Toller was saying, I just felt like it was good to.
I'd like to throw this in there too, on a kind of a side note. This is the problem that we have with growth, and everybody talking about schools, we don't have rooms. But our tax receipts last month, what I saw was $6 million. So thank God our parish has grown in 10 years, and we are moving forward. What would we do without the extra tax receipts that we're getting right now from these people who move in, who were complaining we don't have rooms in schools? So it's got to balance out somehow, and I say thank God they're here. So Mr. Shaw, about what would we do without that? Yeah.
And one last thing, and I've shared this with all of my boards, and I shared it with you last year at renewal time. I really believe this problem with all the property carriers and the increases in premiums and rates that we've experienced this year, it's not a one-time thing, it's not a one-year thing. Last year I said, we need to be prepared to hang on for 3 to 5 years. I still really believe that. I think we're going to see increases. Maybe not this magnitude of increase next year, but we will continue seeing increases for the next 3 to 5 years. And if we go with no storms, no activities along the coast, it might not be a quite 5 years out that we need to worry about. But if we do have another storm, I don't know what'll happen. So yeah, this is something we need to be prepared 3 to 5 years down the road.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brew.
Thank you.
Moving on to C, Instructional Accountability and Support Committee, August 16, 2022. Do I hear a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Motion by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons, second by Ms. Janice. Any discussion? Call for a vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to Personnel Committee, August 16, 2022. Do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
So move.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Kohler, second by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons. Any discussion? Call for a vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes with Mr. Bush abstaining.
Sorry, I didn't have my glasses on, my bad. Can I change that to yes?
Sure.
I went on the wrong side.
All right, moving on to Superintendent's reports and recommendations. First, consider approval to refer the following policies to the Policy Committee. BE, School Board Ethics; EDD, School Bus Scheduling and Routing; GAAA, Equal Opportunity Employment; GAMB, Employee Dress and Grooming; JAA, Equal Education Opportunities; JBD, Student Absences and Excuses; JCDAF, Bullying and Hazing; JCDAFA, Race, Color, National Origin, Harassment, Intimidation, or Discrimination; JD, Discipline; JGC, Student Health Services; JGCD, Administration of Medication; JM, Student Voter Registration; and JQA, Expectant and Parenting Students. Do I have
Move to refer.
motion by Mr. Duncan,
Second.
second by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons. Any discussion? Call for a vote.
Voting is open.
No, I'm wearing them.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
B, consider approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Crime Stoppers of Tangipahoa, Inc. Ms. Stilley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have Ms. Michelle Gallo that's here tonight, representing Crime Stoppers. Would you like to address the board?
I would.
Say a few words.
I would. I appreciate that. We value our partnership with the school system. I believe we've made great strides over the last couple of months, and even this summer we were very busy with end-of-school bashes and back-to-school bashes and Safety School Summit. We have many more student-focused events coming up this fall. More importantly, P3 presentations have already started in the schools. We did 4 last week. We have some scheduled for this week, and we're putting more on the calendar. Principals are getting their contact information, new contact informations for their schools into me so I can update the system. And we look forward to helping you keep all the schools safe this year.
Thank you, Ms. Gallo. The P3 app that Ms. Gallo is referring to here is the app that can be downloaded on the phone, where it's on our website, but the information is, but it allows parents or community or students to anonymously report any threat to the school campus, and it immediately goes to law enforcement and also to school officials, so that many times they can prevent things from happening at the school before it ever becomes a potential threat. So the MOU that you have attached is just, or that was attached to the agenda, is to continue our partnership with Crime Stoppers of Tangipahoa, to continue our partnership with them and all that they do to help us keep our students safe.
Do I hear a motion to adopt?
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Abrams, second by Ms. Janice. Any discussion?
Yes, Michelle doesn't want me to probably say this, but she actually served on the committee for the first school safety summit. She was there in some Tangipahoa, and she was led a discussion, which was very good. And I saw you at quite a few back to school stuff, passing out materials. Thank you for that.
Call for a vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, another board action. We'll first consider the superintendent's evaluation. Each year, each of the school board members are allowed to do an evaluation in 6 areas or domains, and that includes policy and governance, instructional leadership, planning and assessment, organizational management, communication and community relations, and professionalism. And after all the scores were in from each of the members, the maximum vote was 4.0, and Ms. Dilley received a 3.576, which I'm not sure with the range what they call that, but I'd say that was an excellent rating, and would congratulate her on receiving those numbers. Do you have any words you'd like to say, Ms. Dilley?
Well, I just want to thank the board for, for their confidence and support. And, I think there's a lot of progress that we've made, but we certainly have a lot more to accomplish together. And I appreciate working with each and every one of you, and you're a great team to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now consider approval of the 2022-23 annual operating budget. Mr. Schnallbach,
Excuse me, we have to vote
we have to vote on the
on the
evaluation.
evaluation, yes.
Okay, we got to vote on the evaluation to accept it, I guess. So,
Yes, we do.
So move.
motion by Mr. Toller.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons.
Voting is open.
I know, we have to vote to accept what we did.
What we did.
Okay.
You still have my glasses on, that's pretty good.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, but now we'll move to the approval of the 2022-23 annual operating budget. Mr. Schnallbach.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had our public meeting earlier this evening. The budget is presented for y'all. I won't go ahead and read through the assumptions again, but would entertain any questions y'all have on the budget.
Do I hear a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Abrams. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Richards. Any discussion?
No discussion on the budget per se, because I know we've talked it, but a lot of times I get questions about how the public can actually view this budget. And so I wanted to let everyone know that this budget is actually on the home page of our website. All 350 pages is there on the home page. One of the first things you should see when you pull up the home page. And I think one of the things that we win awards on every year is actually how this budget is formatted and user-friendly? Is that?
No.
Okay.
We win the award on our financial report, our
The
annual
report
financial
that we do
report.
after this, okay.
We have not applied, we have one on this budget, and it hasn't changed much, but we haven't won that award in the past 5 years.
Okay. So it's the report that's done once the auditing, or as part of the auditing procedure?
Correct.
That's the one we get the?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, but it can be found on the homepage?
Correct.
All right. Call for a vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
I'm going to skip ahead to public input at this time. We have Mr. Trent Anthony, who is a candidate for our school board here. Would like,
Hey, we have one more thing.
He
We have
skipped C, huh?
Change order.
oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
C.
Don't dare skip
Sit
C.
back down.
Sorry.
I was wondering, Mr. Chairman,
I'm getting
Sorry.
straight by the
I'm sure
superintendent.
Coach Messina's going to call you if we don't get this one done.
Consider approval of change order number 4, new parking lot and railing for the Laranja High School football field house from Blunt General Contractors, the amount of $69,275. Mr. Schnallbach?
Yes, sir. This is to put parking and railing in front of the new field house so we can actually drive up to the building we just built.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons.
And don't forget,
second
you're
by
going
Ms.
to name the
Abrams.
crosswalk after me
No.
when it gets done in the next 5 years.
Ms. Simmons, I want to let you know, right now, we're having trouble getting the poles. We're waiting on the manufacturer for the poles. We have.
Could you give me
emailed
the
and
number and
I
I'll
was
call
going to say,
them?
give her the phone number. I bet you she can get it done.
work.
After the meeting, I'll give you that.
I know
email.
how to work them.
1994, I've been hearing about that car.
No.
Right.
It's been a long time since, I'm gonna build it myself.
We're going to put it on my tombstone once we get it, huh?
Well, you know, we might could just lay her to rest right there, put her headstone on.
Right.
Call for a vote.
Voting is open.
Walk away.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Now I call Mr. Trent Anthony. Sorry for the false alarm, but come on forward and you can give us your input.
So do I need to state my name again, or we all good? Just
We all know who you are.
Okay, good deal. I've met many of you, so if I haven't met you, my name is Trent Anthony. I'm a candidate for School Board District F. This is going to be Randy's seat. He's, of course, running for state senate. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a parent, most importantly, of 2 public school students, a 4th grader and an 8th grader. My son will start high school at Ponchatoula next year. When he graduates, my daughter starts. So for a while, I'll have kids in the school system. I'm a K through 12 student myself. I'm kind of a Tangipahoa mutt, been all over the school system here, but I graduated here in Tangipahoa. I went on to receive my college degree from Southeastern and also got a teaching certification. When I got my teaching certification, we were kind of at the height of the DSEG case, and getting a job was really difficult, but I went on to continue working at where I was working at before, which was managing a large restaurant, 50+ employees. And in 2014, I became a real estate agent, and I opened my own brokerage in 2021, and that's what I'm doing today. As a broker, I'm kind of handing off business to my agents that work for me, so I have a lot of time. So I have a lot of time to devote to the school board. It's going to be like a full-time job for me, and I hope I can join you guys up there, I guess, next year. Any questions?
Thank you.
Is that your wife? Whitney?
Yes, my wife, Brittany.
Yep.
My mom came by. Y'all probably know her.
We all
She's
know
a
Miss
Justice of
Terry.
the Peace. So,
Yes.
like Miss Cindy. Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
Terry, how long you been an elected official? I know it's been.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to tell my age. But, 1997, I was elected, and, I've been able to hold my job. I love what I do. People know I work hard, and I'm not running for the school board.
it. She was elected in '96, so showing her age again.
Well, good luck to you, Trent.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Michael Showers, who would like to give us some input tonight. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
President Westmoreland, Superintendent, and board members. Guess it gives me no pleasure to be here tonight under the weather conditions, but as school has restarted and gotten off to a start, the community is aware of some changes that has happened in the transportation department. And so I've been filled with a bunch of questions that I can't possibly answer. And although we do have some complaints with regards to the transportation department, one thing that I looked at, and it's our obligation to really look at every complaint that we get, although we don't act on every one that we get. In this particular case, it looks as if it was a heavy-handed approach to getting rid of people in the transportation department, from the director to the secretary. That was a heavy-handed approach, in my opinion. I've heard numerous things regarding to why are they not there. Some, you know, it ranges the gamut. But when you look at one in particular, when you look at the transportation assessment, in which I was told that was used to restructure, you could call it restructure. Some people are saying it was a firing. I digress on that.
It was a what?
It was a firing. They were fired.
Oh.
Okay. So, and when I looked at the transportation assessment, and you know, the transportation assessment did give some discrepancies in the transportation department. But when I look and I read, and I just go to the transportation coordinators' positions. It says transportation coordinators are driving a bus nearly every day and not reporting to the office until closer to 8:30 a.m. each day, before leaving again to begin afternoon routes and around 1 p.m. All drivers' safety and training, routing, fleet management, administrative duties, which they are currently responsible for, are constrained to being addressed during the time in which they aren't present in the office. And so I'm perplexed by this, because if you have two coordinators and one's your shorter coordinator, and they're giving you this kind of work, I would say plus them up and add some people, as the assessments say, add some people and keep it moving. But these people was taken out of their positions, and so it's not a good look. It's really not a good look. I really have to say that. So looking at this, and you know, I can understand if it's poor performance, then get rid of the person. But have the documentation to say it was poor performance. Where are the evaluations? Where's the training? That's what we look at. But if there's none of that, then why weren't they given the opportunity to be successful in their particular jobs? That's what we have to look at. When you have employees who are employees of this parish, and by all means coming in doing this kind of work, I would say you want to keep them around. You don't want them to feel like you don't care and they're not welcome in here. So we want to know, where are these employees? I get calls. One is she's not feeling well. So we just need to straighten this out. This doesn't look good. In a time where we're trying to move the parish forward, this doesn't look good at all. So I digress, and I welcome any comments that you have, but it does seem like it is a heavy-handed approach to cleaning out a whole department. And if it's restructuring, restructure around the people that was already there doing the work. Why would you get rid of anybody that's doing the work to restructure around people and bring in new people? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Showers. This time, we'll have board member comments, and we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Bush.
Mentioned it before. Thank you that our tax receipts are higher and they keep getting higher. I appreciate people shopping in the parish. This is the only way we want to survive. I said this week. If we go by the number of phone calls I've been getting or complaints, this is the best school year we've had since I've been here. Had some issues, but not complaints. And I want to end this by saying that Dr. Fusel and Ron Jenko for the last 2 weeks have been there for me numerous times, and I want to thank both of you. And you did the right thing for the children every time, and I appreciate that.
All right, Ms. Sandra
Two
Simmons.
things. First, I want to thank the board and other employees here for the beautiful plant that you sent me when I had my dog bite, which I survived, and I'm good now. But thank you so much. I really appreciate the thoughts there. Also, too, I've gotten some wonderful reports from parents about the opening days of schools and how some of the parents were so happy the way the children were greeted warmly and noticed, and it made the kids really feel happy about being there the first day of school. I've gotten more than one report on that, so that's a good sign. It's a good start. And also on the campus I was at, it was just a very delightful time and warm and welcoming, and I was really impressed.
All right, thank you. Mr. Duncan?
I guess I wanted to just start the process, I guess, of answering some of the questions that Mr. Showers brought us from the NAACP just now. First say that I think we welcome the questions, we appreciate them, we expect them, and we understand that we should have to provide full and complete answers, and certainly we will, through the administration, want to make sure that those answers are provided to you. So hopefully, in addition to my comments, we'll continue to have those conversations. But I do want to just kind of talk a little bit about the history of what happened in the restructuring of the transportation department as best I can recall them. Over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years, this board and the administration has received considerable complaints in the way that the transportation department had been running. Some of them were general complaints, some of them were very specific complaints. In previous years, specifically the 2 years leading up to this past year, the board and the administration allowed for efforts to be made for just internal improvements. We just said, hey, administration, please take a close look at this and see what you can do to make it better. In addition to those efforts, we invited from the administration requests to purchase anything and everything that technology, new anything. If there's anything we can just throw at this to help the existing department be better, tell us. And we bought them. We spent I don't know how much money on new software and all kinds of things. By the time, though, that we got to the end of this past school year, the complaints were the same, if not worse. Recruitment was very difficult, and what we decided to do this year was, hey, let's bring in some outside experts to take a deep dive into this department, and maybe there's something that we just aren't seeing. Maybe there's something that we need to do that's just totally different. And those folks came in, they did that deep dive, and then I think you said you've seen the report. And look, that report, not only did it find severe deficiencies that were very troubling, they also said, hey, look, y'all are running this department as though it was still a contract bus driving department. We don't have that you're running it in a way as though you still have 200 contract drivers, and you don't have that anymore. And so in order to run a department where you have actual drivers that are employees of the system, you have to redo the whole way that you're doing this. And so they made very significant and specific recommendations on a restructuring. The administration made some adjustments to those recommendations. It was a total restructuring of the department. All of the jobs did get re-advertised. Interviews took place. The hirings were made in accordance with the current court order. And we're hopeful that this is the starting process of hopefully a much better department. Again, we understand that, or at least I understand, I mean, look, the department was made up of a lot of minority employees before the restructuring took place, but I do think everything was done above board. It was done in a very deliberate approach, in an equitable way, and with the best interest of our students in mind. You know, we had to make major changes, and you know, yeah, they were painful. It's more expensive. It's costing us a lot more money to do what we're doing now than it used to cost us. But you know, it's an investment that we absolutely had to make. It was a lot of work, and hopefully it'll pay dividends in the year ahead. But again, we welcome the questions. Hopefully we can get you the answers you're looking for.
Thank you, Ms. Robin.
I would like to say I visited a few of my schools in the district, one being Independence High School when they first started their first week. And as everybody knows, we moved the 7th and 8th graders to our high school campus, and our 5th and 6th graders over to the elementary school. And I spoke with Mr. Ryan Joseph there, our new assistant principal, and he was just so amazed at how it's all working together. The 7th and 8th grade wing, he said he's never seen such quietness in a 7th and 8th grade wing, and he was really impressed. But I think it's because the principal we have there now came from the middle school. She's had those 7th and 8th graders, and she had those 9th and 10th graders not so long ago, so they know what to expect from her. So I really think that our system there is going to really work. And from my understanding, we've gained quite a few students at Independence High and elementary school. Some that were on waiting list at Roseland are now going to our elementary school with our new principal, Miss Jamie Mills. So we're really excited about the transformation of what's happening in Independence, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of years because I really think you're going to see a big tick in population there, and we're really hoping that our school system there is going to turn around. And on a personal note to all my Ponchatoula peeps, Mr. Bush, my nephew's opening up the barbecue station tomorrow in Ponchatoula.
Absolutely.
So y'all go tailgate. So y'all go and check it out over there on Highway 22 right before the high school.
On the east side of town.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Robin. Ms. Janice?
I'd like to say that on the north end, we've had some good reports of the new school openings. Also, definitely with the new principals that we have up in the Kentwood area, that's a big thing going because we have a new principal at the elementary school and the high school. And I'm just telling you, I've just been getting calls, and normally when I get calls, I'm looking at my phone like, okay, what's going on, you know, and I panic. But I've been getting very good calls saying, okay, I think we got exactly what we need. They're excited about the new principals, both of them, and the schools and the students are doing really, really well. So I'm grateful for that. Of course, yeah, we do have a few hiccups, and I'm sure that we are handling those. I would like to address the transportation issue and the heavy-handed approach. One of the things that I was just really, really concerned about was, were these employees going to be fired? That was one of my main concerns. And the answer that I received from that was no, that we were going to try and find somewhere that's comparable that they would have, they could be placed with the comparable salary at the time. Now, we do know that we, like Brett said, we had major complaints, not just from the community, but also from the employees themselves, the bus drivers. I mean, we had major complaints, so we knew we had to do something. There had to be some restructuring going. However, I understand what Mr. Michael was saying when he read the report from the outside experts. What they're saying is that it said that the employees, that we needed more help. So that was a concern. So I guess right now what we need to do as a board, and to go back and revisit and to see where the employees are now and see what the concerns are. I think that just would be fair to do, to find out what's really going on. Also in that, when we're talking about the schools, we're also looking forward to see what our phase 2 or phase 1B plan is in coming into our construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Janice. Mr. Tom?
Yeah, just a couple of quick notes. One thing that I do miss seeing our new principals and seeing our new, I know we've taken some of that personnel stuff out of our board meetings, but I really do enjoy that chance, the board getting to meet our new assistant principals. I know we have a new assistant principal at Sumner, but I know we get a chance to see them at the schools and at athletic events, but I do miss that part of the meetings. With that being said, and I was talking to Ms. Steele about this before meetings, administrative things are ran by the administration, and it's not board level decisions. And when it comes to like what Mr. Showers is talking about, and I don't really have specific answers, and I'm hoping that you'll get all those, but we as a board have to trust that our administrators who we hire to run this school system will make those tough decisions. And sometimes they are very painful, and sometimes they're hurtful. It happens at the school levels, it happens at central office level, and every part of this. I will be the first to go against recommendations that I don't feel that I can support. I did it tonight with the heating and air. I am disappointed that we're overlooking a local company and going into a 2-year contract with the Jackson, Mississippi company. That does not settle well with me, and that's why I've been vocal about that from day one. And I will go against those recommendations when I see fit. But the administration is charged with running our school system, and those are hard decisions to make. But I hope you get the answers that you're looking for, and I hope that you will see that Ms. Steele puts the interest of the school system first and what we need to make sure that we serve our students.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tom. Mr. Jerry?
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. This meeting tonight would normally be one where I would be welcoming back the teachers. The administration has never left. They've been here working year-round. But I want to thank you, Mike, for bringing this concern to our attention, and I think that it is a concern that this board has definitely had to contend with, because there have been several differences of opinion concerning. I too agree that the report to me identified a lack of personnel resources. After speaking with some of the personnel, I would agree that they were being overworked. They were being overworked, and most of it was because of their own self-dedication. They were putting this work in to get the job done because they wanted to do their jobs. They wanted to be successful in their jobs, and their struggles have been a long time unnoticed, and the problems have been there. And I think that with the final identification that everybody's not going to agree with the final process that was put in place. I have my disagreements with it as well, and those disagreements are personal. And I agree with you, and I understand the comments that you've been getting from the community. I've been getting them also, and hopefully with some of the resolutions that are in process, you know, and I'm sure that eventually you're going to gain knowledge of those, of what's happening in the process. But hopefully with the personnel resolutions that I've heard of, and hopefully they're going to continue to progress for all of the employees that were involved in this change of structure in the transportation department, that we're going to be able to come to a resolution that everyone can at least have some acceptance to. But you know, your complaints and your comments are legitimate, you know, and I can affirm that. But I don't think this board is ignoring it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jerry. I'd like to congratulate our superintendent again on the numbers and the evaluation that we had. I'd like to thank the people in District D. I think they gave me a vote of confidence by no one qualifying, as well as other 6 members of the board, which I think is a vote that they believe that we are doing everything we can for this school system, and we believe in this school system, and we believe this school system is only going to progress with the leadership of our administration and us school board members. And finally, I'd like to say my little son, 4-year-old Bo Westmoreland, is now a pre-K student at Midway Elementary, and he is enjoying himself, and I'm looking forward to that. You have any comments, Superintendent?
I'm glad you said that. I have a pre-K-er as well. My granddaughter started
What,
pre-K
this ain't no
at
grand.
LaRondra.
This is a son here.
I sure do. I got a LaRondra pre-K-er, so
There we
good
go.
job.
All right, well, that will be everything on our agenda tonight. So at this time, we'll adjourn the meeting, and thank everybody for coming.